So again, we've been talking about the 7 deadly sins the last several weeks, and we're going to wrap that up today. We're going to finish talking about the 7 deadly sins today. Now, that doesn't mean that we will never, ever talk about sin ever again. But this list of 7 that we talked about for centuries has been viewed as the 7, I guess, most common, the 7 that we find many of us find ourselves falling victim to over and over again. These sins that are at the root of other sins and other temptations that we face. These are the things we've been talking about for the last several weeks. And specifically this morning, we're going to talk about and be looking at the sin of envy. And I'm sure that when you hear the word envy, when you read that in your bulletin this morning, when you heard that that's what we're going to talk about, there's probably some of the synonyms, the words that come to mind when you think of the word envy. I mean, you think of jealousy, or you might think of coveting. That's one of those Bible words, to covet something, to desire something. And that's the kind of things that come to mind when we talk about envy. And those words are connected to envy. But envy is a little bit different than some of those other words. And I want to explain why. You go back to in the second book of the Bible, the book of Exodus, talks about God's people being led out of slavery in Egypt. They were slaves for hundreds of years, and God performed the 10 plagues and set them free and brought them out of Egypt and was bringing them to the promised land. He was bringing them through the wilderness on their way to the promised land. They would have to rely on Him. They would have to trust on Him to protect them and to take care of them, to provide for them until they got to the land that He promised them. And in the middle of that journey, when they were, on the way to the promised land, they come to a mountain, and God's presence is at the top of this mountain. And Moses goes up in the very presence of God, and he receives what we call the 10 Commandments. And there's other laws, there's other things that God gave to Moses. And there's, as Delia mentioned a minute ago, the tabernacle, the place of worship. God gave instructions to Moses on how that was supposed to be built and what that was supposed to look like. So there's lots of other things that Moses and God talked about up on the mountain. But there's the big 10, the 10 Commandments that were given to him, that were carved on stone tablets that he was supposed to come back and share with the rest of the people. Number 10 on the list, the last one, is don't covet. You can find this in Exodus chapter 20. But God's command is, if you got the old school version, thou shalt not covet. In our words nowadays, don't covet. And even the word covet, we don't use the word covet very often. I mean, I'm not sitting there driving down the road going, boy, I really covet a Sonic drink right now. It's not something that we use in our vernacular that often. So, but what does that mean? And what God was saying is, if you look at the command, he's basically saying, don't stare at and lust over and crave and desire what belongs to somebody else. Don't covet. Don't crave after your neighbor's house or your neighbor's spouse or your neighbor's stuff. It's theirs. Don't sit there and stare at it and crave it for yourself. And the reason why is because the longer that you crave those things that somebody else has, the more you'll end up sacrificing. You'll end up sacrificing your values. You'll end up sacrificing the stuff that you do have and the family you have, the marriage you have, the possession you have, because you're craving so much what somebody else has. And so you see, from the very beginning of God dealing with his people, he wanted his people to steer clear of and to stay away from jealousy and coveting. But again, envy is a little bit different. It's related to jealousy and it's related to coveting, but it's a little bit different. So let me see if I can give you a clearer picture, okay? Parker, come up here real quick. This is one of our teenagers, Parker Rickard. I need you to hold that sucker, okay? Now, doesn't that look like a delicious sucker? Yes, aren't you glad that I gave it to you? Mm-hmm. I know you are. So here's how jealousy works. Jealousy is me seeing that sucker and going, man, Parker has a sucker. I really wish I had a sucker. Man, I could go for a sucker right now. I really, really want a sucker. I might want his sucker or at least one like it because I really, really want one. I'm jealous of the fact that he has a sucker and I don't. Everybody with me? That's jealousy, okay? This is envy, all right? I see that sucker and I see that he has one and I don't. That's envy, okay? Because envy goes beyond just being jealous of what he has. I don't think he deserves it. I don't want him to have it. It's not just that I don't have it and wish I did or wish I had one like it. I don't want him to have what he does have. You see the difference? Thanks, sir. Very good job. Give Parker a hand. He did a great job of standing there and looking good. All right. If I'm jealous of you, I wish I had what you had. If I'm envious of you, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm resentful that you have whatever it is that you have. And my desire is not even necessarily to have it for myself. I just don't want you to have it. I don't want you to appreciate it. I don't want it to be your possession, whether I have it or not. That's the sin that we're talking about today. That's the sin that I think finds its way into our hearts and into our mindsets more often than we would like to admit. And that's what God says we need to stay away from. In the New Testament, in the book of Galatians, as Paul is writing to this church in Galatia, and he spent some time talking about having the Spirit in our lives and living the way that God wants us to because of his Spirit living in our hearts. And he says in that process, here's what you need to do. In verse 26, Galatians chapter 5 and verse 26, let us not become conceited, provoking, and envying each other. Don't become so full of yourself that you think you deserve it. And don't become so frustrated with somebody else that you know for sure they don't deserve it. That's the mindset Paul wants us to stay away from. And there's many of us that think, well, that's not who I am. That's not what I struggle with. How do you feel sometimes when you see people's posts on Instagram and Facebook about all the stuff that they have, about the vacations they're going on, about all the awards that their kids are winning? Is your initial reaction, boy, good for them. Man, I'm so glad that they're blessed the way they are? Or is your initial reaction, depending on who the person is, I can't believe. Why don't I get to do stuff like that? How come they got that? Why doesn't my kid get the playing time their kid does? We struggle with in the workplace. How could he get that promotion? Why does she get recognition? I worked harder than they did. You see where it comes into play? It's not just that I want what they have. I don't want them to have it. I'm frustrated at the good stuff that they're getting. I'm envious. It's subtle, and it creeps into our hearts, and it takes over. And it's dangerous. And God wants us to stay away from it. And I'll give you a few reasons why. And one reason is that envy truly hurts me. It doesn't hurt that other person. I mean, I'm sure it probably hurt Parker's feelings that I threw a sucker across the room. But it doesn't necessarily hurt that other person for me to have feelings of wishing that they didn't have what they have. That's not necessarily painful to them, but it hurts me. People who are consumed, whose thoughts and energy are consumed with jealousy and envy over what somebody else has, those people are more likely to experience depression and stress and ulcers. They lose sleep. They can become physically sick because they can't get their minds off of what someone else has received. Envy can damage my friendships. I can start giving people the silent treatment because I'm so mad that they got what they got and I don't have it. Or I don't think they should get it. I gossip about them. Well, you know how he got that promotion. I make up all sorts of stuff that may not even be true. I'll resent them. I'll be angry at them. I'll lose my temper. And I'll damage those friendships. I'll damage those relationships. People will stop trusting me. People will stop wanting to be around me because of my envy. It'll damage my relationship with God. I'll be angry with him for blessing them and say, why not me? My envy hurts me. Job says in Job chapter 5 and verse 2, resentment kills a fool and envy slays the simple. It hurts me to be envious of other people. It can kill my relationships. It can kill my friendships. It can kill my connection with God. and I need to stay away from it because it hurts me. Envy also robs me. When I allow envy to take over my heart and I become consumed with all the reasons that you shouldn't have whatever it is that you have, I miss out. I miss out on the joy that I could experience with the things that I do have. I miss out on opportunities to invite other people to enjoy the things that I have with me. I am so consumed and so upset with the house that you have and the money that you make and the food that you can buy that I miss out on the opportunity to invite people over to my house and to allow them to eat my food and us share together and have a good time together. I miss out on the opportunities to enjoy the blessings that I have because I'm so focused on the blessings that you have. I'm robbed of the opportunities to experience the blessings that God has given me if all I do is sit and stew about what you have and complain about why I deserve those things and you don't. I'm robbed of the joy and the peace and the pleasure of experiencing the blessings that God has given me. That's what envy does to me. It hurts me and it robs me, and quite honestly, it blinds me. My envy blinds me. And here's what I mean by that. You go to the book of Ephesians in chapter 2, in verse 10, Paul says something about all of us who are the children of God. He says, we are God's handiwork created in Christ Jesus to do good works which God has prepared in advance for us to do. God has designed you with talents and abilities and personalities, and when we give our lives to Jesus Christ, God empowers us to do good things. He gives us gifts, he gives us spiritual gifts, and he gives us talents, and he gives us abilities to go and do good stuff. And he gives us physical blessings too. He gives us money, and he gives us cars, and he gives us food, and he gives us homes, and he gives us clothes, and he gives us opportunities to share those things with other people, to be doing good things. That's what we are called to do. That's what we are designed to do. But when I am full of envy, when all I can do is focus on the things that you have that I wish you didn't have, I don't even see the one who specifically designed me with the talents and the abilities and personality that I have. I don't see the one who gave me what I have. I don't recognize how much he loves me to bless me the way that he has. I'm blinded to my blessings because I'm envious of yours. I don't see the blessings that I have. I don't see the opportunities to enjoy them. I don't see the opportunities to bless others with them. I want to show you a quick video clip that will help make this a little more clear. And I hope after you watch this, you see what I'm talking about with how envy blinds us. Go ahead.
Hey guys, I got you each a gift.
No way, Jesus, why?
Awesome. Well, I just love you guys, so I wanted to get you something.
Oh, so nice.
Laura, you first.
Oh, this is so exciting. Oh, will you look at this, a little 8-ounce can of Coke? This is perfect for me.
I looked everywhere to find a gift for you, and this just seemed to fit.
I love it.
Drew?
Yeah.
Your turn.
All right. No way, Jesus. Seriously?
Oh, yeah.
20 ounces of Coke? Yeah, baby.
Woo!
This is awesome. Oh, Jesus, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Laura, we got to go show Richard our gifts. Come on.
Okay.
Hey, Laura. Is there a problem?
No. I mean, well, yeah, kind of, you know. It's just that every time you give people gifts, you always give everyone else more than you give me.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, I open my gift and, oh, cute, 8 ounces. And then Drew opens his gift and, hello, 20 ounces.
Oh, I know what you mean. Well, that gift is for Drew.
Well, that's what I want. Go get it for me.
Okay, if that's what you want.
Yeah. I got a liter. Whoa. I know, it's 1 liter of God's sweet goodness. Jesus gave it to me. He did? Yes. Okay, you know what? You're going to meet somebody with a bigger bottle, and you are going to be so mad.
Laura, check it out. I got an upgrade. Coke 3.0.
That is awesome.
I know.
Well, isn't that just great?
Yeah. Hey, Jesus, you rock.
Yeah.
Thanks,
What
Drew.
is wrong with you? Why are you holding back your best from me?
I gave you my best. Don't you see what's happening here? You're letting everyone else's gifts steal your joy.
No, Jesus, you are stealing my joy by giving everyone else more than you give me.
Laura, I picked this gift out for you. That's what I wanted you to see.
I don't care.
Until you can look past this, all you're going to see is a can of Coke. Hey, guys.
Hey. The problem in this video that you can see, she's so blinded by the size of the gift, she couldn't even see the giver. And she couldn't see how precious she was to the giver and how he picked out something just for her. Forget all that. I'm jealous of what they have. And I don't think that they should have something more than me than what I have. Folks, this is what we struggle with. God may have given me this for a specific person, for a specific purpose, for a specific reason. He gave me this because he thought of me and thought I could use it, that I could be blessed with it or bless other people with it. He gave this to me. And he gave this to somebody else. And I won't even pay attention to the gift that I've been given because I'm envious of what he's done for somebody else. And I start saying, why doesn't God love me as much as he does them? Why doesn't God care about me like he does them? God cares immensely about me. He gave me exactly what I needed and what I could use. He gave me a gift specifically for me. No, I want that. Or at least I don't want them to have more than I do. That's not fair. Our envy blinds us. All we can focus on is what we have and don't have, and we don't even recognize the one that gave it to us in the first place. Because our envy blinds us. It hurts us, and it robs us, and it blinds us, and God says, get it out of your hearts. Get it out of your lives and stay away from it. So what do we do? How do we do that? How do we keep envy from creeping in? And if it does begin to find its way into our hearts, when we have that attitude, when we find ourselves being envious of what somebody else is experiencing, how do we get rid of it? Let me give you some action steps real quick. First thing I need to do is I need to be aware. I need to be aware. I need to be aware of the times that envy is taking over. I need to be honest with myself and quit rationalizing going, I'm not a jealous person. I'm not an envious person. Hey, let's be aware and be honest. How do I feel about those people who are experiencing things that I might think are better than what I have or what I'm getting to experience or what I possess? How do I feel about those people? Am I glad for them and maybe wishing that I could have some of those things myself, but man, I'm happy for them? Or am I resentful? Am I finding all the faults and all the reasons why they shouldn't have those things? I need to be honest. I need to be aware of how envy may be affecting me. I need to recognize the things I'm envious of. And I need to be aware of all the things that God is doing for me. I need to be aware of all the ways that God is blessing me. I need to be aware of the talents and the abilities, the gifts that he's given me. Psalm 103 and verse 2. As David is beginning a psalm of praise to God over a whole bunch of things that he's done. He says, praise the Lord, my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Don't forget the good stuff that God has done. Be aware of it. Be mindful of it. And number 2, be thankful for it. Be aware of the blessings that he's given you and be thankful for them. The more that I can recognize the blessings that I have and the more time that I can spend thanking God for what he's blessed me with, the less time I have to be jealous and to be envious of what other people have. The less that I tend to focus on what you have. If I am constantly thanking God, even for the little stuff, I don't find myself being envious and resentful of maybe even the big stuff that you have. 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 4, the Apostle Paul says, everything God created is good. And nothing is to be rejected if it's received with thanksgiving. There's going to be, I hope, Father's Day gifts given today, if they haven't been given already. And it might be a card, and it might be something to eat, and it might be, a gift certificate. It might actually be a present, something that you have to unwrap. It might be nothing but a few hours to do whatever it is you want to do. Whatever it is, whatever the gift is, hopefully you're going to get something from your kids today to say thank you for being our dad. And if that's not in your plans, by the way, Walmart's still open. Run by and get something on the way home. All right. Now, imagine if you had a gift for your dad. You thought about it. And maybe it's just a card. Maybe even hand wrote something inside the card. It's something more meaningful. It's something personal. And you give that to your dad, and he's like, well, that's great. But I would have rather had whatever. How you feel? Okay, I understand you would have rather had that, but I gave this to you. This is for me. I thought of you, and I got this for you. How ungrateful would it seem to go, oh, that's nice. Here's what I would have rather had instead. And yet that's what we do to God. That's what Paul says we shouldn't be doing. That God gives gifts. God gives good gifts. God gives us what we need when we need it. So don't reject it. Don't tell God, God, that's nice. What I would have rather had is this. Don't reject it. Thank God for it. Be thankful for what he's blessed you with. He picked the things that he gives you. He picked them out for you. So be thankful for them. And lastly, be generous with them. Be aware of the things that you're envious of, and be aware of the blessings that God has given you. And be thankful for the blessings that God has given you, and be generous with the things that God has given you. In the same way that I don't have time to complain about what I don't have or be envious of what you do have, when I focus on being thankful, by the same principle, I will find myself being far less concerned about what other people have when I am focused on giving others what's been given to me. I don't care nearly as much about your house and your car and your vacation time and your paychecks and your clothes and your possessions when I'm spending all my time giving those things of mine to other people. When I invite people over to my house because I want to spend time with them, I want to be a blessing to them, I really don't care about the size of my house compared to yours. When I give away possessions, money, time, energy, I don't focus on how much of those things that you have compared to me. I'm just giving away what God has given me. When I donate, when I volunteer, I don't worry about is somebody else getting more volunteer hours than me, is somebody else considered to be a better volunteer than me, is somebody else putting more money in the basket than I am. It's not the point. The point is God's given me stuff to use, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to be generous with it. I'm going to bless other people with it. When that becomes my heart, I find myself being less and less envious of other people. Because I'm just giving all my stuff away anyway. The author of Hebrews says in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 16, don't forget to do good and to share with others. For those kind of sacrifices God is pleased. Be in the habit of being generous. And the more that we are in the habit of being generous, the less we are in the habit of being envious. I'll be the first to confess this morning. I have missed out on several times in my life. I've missed out on enjoying the little things, for lack of a better term, that God has given me because I was bothered by the big things that somebody else had. I should have enjoyed the playing time that my son was getting in the game. And instead, I was focused on my own bitterness and anger why that kid gets to play more than my son does. I should have fostered deeper connections with members of my church family and focused more on their needs and the needs of the church that God has given me to be a part of, rather than being bitter about the size and the activities of a bigger church. And I'm just confessing to you this morning, that's a couple of examples. I have many times in my life where I'm blinded and I can't get past this. I can't see past the gift to the giver. And I'm sorry for that, and I want to do better. I'm trying to do better. I want to get better at valuing what I do have. I want to get better at valuing what God has given me, even if it's only this. Instead of having nothing but bitterness of someone who has this. Does that make sense? So I share that with you this morning. I think we all, at different times in our lives, struggle with envy, myself included. I want to be content, and I want to be satisfied, and I want to be joyful in the things that God has given me. And I want that for you as well. And so we're going to stand together, and we're going to sing a song together. And it's a prayer to God. It's a prayer to God saying, God, of all the things that I feel like I need in this life, I recognize I don't need anything more than I need you. And as we sing that song, I want you to think to yourself, what are the things that I consider more important? What are the times when my paycheck or my vacation or my possessions or my house or whatever it is has become more important to me than my relationship and my connection with God? Because there should be nothing else that's more important than that. And if there are things in your life that have become more important to you than God, or if there are things in someone else's life that you have become envious of, and those things have become more important to you than your relationship with God, then I would invite you while we're singing together, while we're standing together and singing, to come forward and say, I'm ready to stop being envious. And I'm ready to stop valuing things that in the grand scheme of things don't really matter. And I want to value my relationship with God. I want that to be the most important thing, and I want it to start today. And we will surround you with love and acceptance and prayer and do whatever we can to help get rid of the envy and the misguided perceptions in your life so that your heart is full of the presence of God. Can we help? We want to. While together we stand and sing.